The weightlifter. You know those people who write down every set, every rep, and get annoyed if someone takes the weight plates they were planning on using? Turns out they're running an experiment, and you just contaminated the data. Weightlifting runs on one of the most brutally simple feedback systems in sports. Squat, bench, deadlift, and the number either went up or it made you go down onto the floor. That kind of objective clarity attracts someone who needs proof, not feelings. Your progress isn't measured in how pumped you looked or how hard the session felt. It's measured in kilos and total weight. And because real strength gains come slowly, we're talking months of sessions that look identical from the outside. The people who stay tend to find genuine meaning in the boring middle, tweaking the setup, refining the bar path, adding tiny increments of weight. Finding enjoyment in these mundane tasks is the superpower weightlifters have. Lifting is also still a comparatively niche choice, especially in women. Strength training participation remains lower than cardio across most populations, so just picking this path already says something. You chose the route with the least glamour and the most math, but only when adding multiples of 45. Your love language is adding 5 pounds to each side, doing one more rep, and calling that personal growth. The long distance runner. Somewhere along the line, waking up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday to run 26 miles became your weekend routine. For people drawn to distance running, monotony eventually becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes the closest thing to a quiet, uncluttered mind. Research increasingly points to endocannabinoids, the brain's own cannabis-like chemicals, as the mechanism behind the runner's high. It's not just feel-good endorphins, but a genuine shift in how effort, pain, and mood get processed mid-run. The same movement, breath, and road over hours actually help you feel better. Running attracts people who use steady physical effort as a sorting mechanism. Messy thoughts go in, something clearer comes out the other side. Why do you think so many middle-aged adults turn to marathon training? They process the stress of work and daily life through their run and feel lighter by the end of it. There's also a strong independence angle. Even among runners who enjoy community, the act itself is solitary enough to attract people who can generate their own motivation without external structure or pressure. Progress is also measured in months here, so the people who stick to distance running are genuinely okay with slow. Long-distance runners turned, "I need to be alone with my thoughts," into a multi-hour meditation retreat that not only clears the mind but also trains the body. The 5 a.m. club. Your alarm goes off at 4:30 a.m. The house is dead silent, and it's still pitch black. And some part of your brain decides that you've slept enough. You lace up while your partner is still dreaming about unlimited breadsticks. Most people would call this dedication. Scientists call it something more interesting. Chronotype research, which studies your body's natural clock preference, finds that morning people score higher on conscientiousness, basically the personality trait of someone who makes a to-do list and actually follows through. And for these people, the 5 a.m. slot isn't chosen because muscle fibers work better at dawn. It's chosen because nothing has gone wrong yet. There are no pointless meetings, urgent requests, or daily chaos. The hard thing gets done while the day is still defenseless. There's also a future self element, where most people treat tomorrow as tomorrow's problem. This person is already solving it before sunrise. But perhaps the biggest reveal is this: the workout is almost beside the point. What they're really doing is confirming something about who they are. I'm the kind of person who follows through. And the gym is just where they collect the evidence. If you belong to the 5 a.m. club, you've already won the day before anyone else even wakes up. The Gym Litterer. There's always at least one person at every commercial gym. They drop the dumbbells near the rack, they leave the plates on the bar and walk off. They wheel the bench across the gym and don't bring it back. They never wipe anything after leaving it drenched in sweat. We've all seen that person, and hopefully you're not them. Re-racking is one of the most basic shared space norms in any gym. It signals that you mentally include the next person in your actions. Research on group behavior shows norm violations are contagious. When one person leaves plates on the bar, others follow, and the standard erodes fast. For people who don't re-rack, they consider the equipment not their responsibility as soon as their set ends. That's a very specific kind of tunnel vision, useful in some contexts, but genuinely inconsiderate in this one. There's also an entitlement pattern here, the quiet assumption that someone else will handle it. Staff, another lifter, the universe, and it's always someone else who will do the work. To be fair, one forgotten dumbbell doesn't diagnose a personality flaw, but doing it every single time takes a completely ordinary social expectation and responds with a shrug and a "it's not my problem." Gym litterers were definitely the "I'll do it later" kid. They live in the moment. Unfortunately, That moment doesn't include thinking about the person coming after them. The pickup sports player. You haven't voluntarily run a mile since high school PE, but when you hear there's a Thursday night basketball game at an old gym with excellent trash talk, and suddenly you have a sports bag packed. That's your motivation system working exactly as designed. Research on adult sport participation consistently finds that some people aren't motivated by fitness alone. Instead, they're motivated by relationships, rules, and a reason to win. There's also something specific about the feedback in a team sport: the score, the rally, the teammate yelling, "Come on, let's go." These efforts have immediate meaning in a group setting. You don't have to make up your own reason to care about running after a ball. Rather, the game hands you one with every play. If you prefer pickup sports, it means you're play-driven rather than discipline-driven, and you need movement to have a plot. A treadmill asks you to generate your own motivation from a cold machine. A game makes the stakes obvious and immediate, and it's actually how human motivation was designed to work long before gyms existed. If nobody's keeping score, your body asks, what's the point of even getting a sweat going? The HIIT Junkie. It's 3 minutes into your 45-minute boot camp, and your heart rate is already so high, your watch is asking if you're having a heart attack. High-intensity interval training works by alternating short bursts of maximum effort with brief recovery periods. Research finds that extroverts enjoy high-intensity sessions more than anyone else, and that people drawn to HIIT tend to be motivated by the experience of effort feeling vivid and immediate. Compared to exercises that focus on a slow build, HIIT delivers a strong and hard signal that something is happening right now. There's also something revealing about the bootcamp version. Paying someone else to decide when you sprint, jump, and recover isn't weakness. It's outsourcing uncertainty, so your brain can stop planning and just move. When the format is loud enough, there's no room left for second guessing. Group bootcamp classes also skew heavily female, and research consistently finds that group exercise strengthens both social connection and exercise identity, meaning the class itself becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. If you have a high stress tolerance but a short attention span, HIIT might be the perfect workout for you. The Yoga and Pilates Devotee. You own a foam roller, a massage ball, 2 resistance bands, and a very strong opinion about what counts as a proper bird dog pose. And no, that's not referring to the animals. Yoga and Pilates attract people who want exercise that doubles as control over how their body feels from the inside. Where a HIIT junkie wants intensity, you demand precision. Each movement has to be properly aligned and feels right. Just completing a pose doesn't count. People drawn to these practices consistently report stress regulation and overall health restoration as their main motivations, not the calorie burn. Pilates, in particular, clusters around stress control goals, with studies linking it to measurable reductions in anxiety and depression symptoms. Yoga and Pilates enthusiasts tend to treat their nervous system like an instrument that needs regular tuning. You're deeply in tune with your body, and you can accurately assess if a movement is being carried out correctly with your position properly aligned. What's more, staying focused on tiny details for an entire class is a specific kind of mental discipline most people underestimate. Chances are, you're a little bit of a perfectionist, and you probably have the most organized pantry in the neighborhood. The 11 p.m. night owl. You get home at 9 p.m., stare at the couch for 5 minutes, and then, against the advice of people who go to bed at 10, grab your gym bag. Your friends think you're unhinged, but you don't care. Evening chronotypes. People whose bodies naturally run later tend to feel more physically and mentally switched on as the day winds down, so the 11 p.m. workout is just when the engine actually runs hot for you. But the more revealing part is what the gym replaces at that hour. Exercise is landing as a closing ritual, a way to digest and process everything the day threw at you. It could be work stress, financial frustration, or mental clutter. And you're not taking that to bed. You're leaving it on the gym floor, along with your sweat. Research shows exercise reliably reduces anxiety and depression symptoms, and for night owls especially, a late session can feel like finally exhaling, letting it all go. There's also an autonomy streak here. Gyms are usually emptier late at night, making your workout less performative. You're not ego lifting when there's no one to impress. You're just exercising based on what works for you. There's a stereotype of the hardcore bodybuilders and lifters working out late at night to avoid the crowds and eye contact to truly focus on their workout. When everyone is sneaking a late night snack, you're using the gym as a way to outrun your thoughts before bed. The Data Junkie. Your watch tracks your sleep, your VO2 max, your strain score, your recovery percentage, and your stress levels. You laugh at the thought of only wearing one wearable. You've got the Apple Watch, Garmin, Whoop, Fitbit, and even an Aura ring to measure every exercise and get every data point possible. If you analyze your workout data like a Wall Street analyst shorting stocks, you trust numbers more than vibes. Research on wearable users consistently shows links with achievement striving. People who self-track aren't just health conscious, they're also oriented toward measurable progress and objective validation. The tracker gives you a clean story about effort when the body itself is too ambiguous to be satisfying. Streaks, readiness scores, cadence graphs, these are certainties in a biological system that rarely feels certain on its own. You're most comfortable when effort has been externally measured and progress has a graph. Wearable ownership sat at 44.5% among U.S. adults between 2020 and 2022, skewing younger, urban, and higher income. But the most devoted users aren't just wearing them, they're building entire systems around what the numbers say. There is one known shadow side, though. Emerging research suggests that for some people, over-reliance on wearable data can become stressors. Turns out, more data isn't always better. To you, an unrecorded workout simply didn't happen. The no music trainer. Everyone else at the gym is locked into a playlist, an album, a podcast, or even an audiobook about self-improvement. You're just there, alone with your thoughts and the sound of your own breathing, apparently completely fine with that. Most exercise research finds that music improves enjoyment, performance, and perceived exertion by shifting attention away from discomfort, essentially helping people look away from the effort. Where most people use audio as insulation, you're choosing to stay with it directly. The breath, the tension, the burn, all of it in full volume. That's called associative focus, and research on mindful movement suggests it sharpens body awareness and improves how exercise feels over time in ways that dissociative listening doesn't. You're building the ability to sit inside discomfort without flinching. That also says something about how you're wired. You have an unusually high tolerance for your own internal environment. Silence during effort means hearing yourself think and hearing your body complain in surround sound, and you're genuinely okay with both. You don't need anything outside yourself to get through the session. For most people, that sounds exhausting. For you, apparently, it's just your average weekday. If you're in this group, you're either a Zen master or a serial killer. There's no in between. The matching set wearer. You spent an hour the night before picking an outfit for your morning gym class. Even your socks and water bottle coordinate with your outfit. Research shows that what you wear shifts how you think and behave. Not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. In fitness settings, the right outfit functions like a confidence boost. You're dressing for the person who finishes the session, not the one who's still debating on whether to go. Studies on gym goers confirms this. Clothing comfort, style, and satisfaction greatly influence body confidence, concentration, and motivation to be active. The matching set is basically your mental warm-up. It psychologically prepares you for training, and by the time the outfit is on, you're locked in. For matching set wearers, you're highly sensitive to symbolic cues. Clothes help you step into a role before the hard part begins. You're channeling a strong, athletic, and capable personality even before your session. The coordination isn't random either. It's a visual signal to your own brain that the ritual has started. Even your color palette has a training split, and if the new all-blue set gets you squatting a new PR, the psychology is working. The old t-shirt veteran. Your shirt has holes or tears all over, a barely visible logo from a 10K you ran in 2011, and zero chance of being replaced. How much mental energy you spend on how you appear while working out varies enormously between people. The old shirt signals low investment in impressing people in the gym with your apparel. You're not there to audition as a model or record yourself like an influencer. You're there to complete a task. When exercise has become genuinely habitual, what brand you're wearing, if you're using a fancy water bottle, whether your headphones are expensive, all become unnecessary. Old workout clothes also carry behavioral association. Your body has moved in them hundreds of times, and that familiarity can itself trigger the readiness to move again. Research on gym clothing and body image adds useful nuance. People who feel more anxious about their physique often prefer looser, more concealing clothing. So the old shirt doesn't always mean indifference. Sometimes it just gives you more confidence in a place where people's bodies are constantly judged. If the vibe is genuinely, I grabbed whatever was cleanish because the workout is the point, that shirt has seen so many training phases, it deserves its own biography. If you like this video and want to learn more about your weird habits, check out these other videos.